Sup guys, Jesse Diablos, Del Taco, Chungo, Tom here. In my actually not last video, ignore that, please. I did a poll on my community tab. It's no longer there, so don't even try to look. Basically, it was a World War I video, a World War II video, or a World War III video. It was an entire vote to see which one would win. And it was actually two because I was not going to do a World War II video because pretty much every goddamn YouTuber has made a World War II video. But this is a World War I video. The sequel will come out in about 50 years and will be worse than the first one. Now, I have spun the wheel. So the Axis powers are still Germany, but also Britain, Belgium, Switzerland, the Vatican. Holy shit, the Vatican, spreading religion, and Albania. Also, Greece is neutral, but Austria-Hungary and what was another Axis member? Romania are on the good guy's side. So let's start this. This is going to be a little different from our own timeline, obviously. So how do we start this alternate world war? Now, our World War I started with the Austrian leader being shot and then declaring war on Serbia because it was a Serbian nationalist, but Serbia was best friends with the French, so Germany's like, don't worry, my gay homie, I'm gonna rape France, but oh no, but Germany felt this big, thick, kind of rectangularly thing coming up the booty hole, and it was the Russians who were best friends and secret lovers of the French, and they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna attack you." And so Germany wanted to invade through Belgium, but Belgium's is a submissive femboy to Britain, and Britain's like, "Hey, stop touching my my illustrious femboy." Germany is like, I'm going to kiss him right here." So that's how World War I started in our world. But how does this alternate one start? Well, it actually starts with Switzerland. You see, Switzerland's like, I want to take back some lands in Italy, but first I have to, take back Luxembourg. So they take over Luxembourg, but they were secretly lovers with the small country I forget the name of, which doesn't really matter. But they were Luxembourg was having a three-way relationship with Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary's like, whoa, man, you just stole my lover. I'm gonna kill you. But Switzerland's Germany's kid, and he's like, hey, no, I'm gonna attack you. But Italy's like, no, he's my best friend in this universe, I guess. And the Russians were like, I'm going to stay neutral. But the Swedish fish people were like, I need to free Finland, so I'm going to invade Russia. So in 1922, the Swedish invade Russia through Finland, and the Russians were like, "Oh hell no, I'm gonna attack you, Switzerland." But Switzerland was like, "Denmark and Britain are my best friends. They're gonna help me." And also Portugal just wants this land piece back. And the Balkan countries want to be more powerful. So World War I starts. So starting with, Norway decides, hey, I'm not gonna get into this, but I'm gonna help Russia and maybe end the war quickly. So they invade Switzerland like this, but it fails horribly. So bad that Denmark, Switzerland, and the UK invade from all sides. They grab each of Norway's holes and start, oh yeah, they start face. Anyways, they're invading more and more Norway. The Russians were like, "Oh no, I must save Norway." So they invade Sweden, and take half of their territory. But it's too late. The British and the Swedish have turned Norway not into Norway into a puppet of theirs, which basically means they can go through Norway freely. There are now two Norways. There is South Norway, that is a puppet, and there is the Free Republic of Norway, which has territory in Switzerland now because the Russians invaded half of Switzerland. But they're really just a Russian puppet now. Anyways, so the French invade through Belgium and a little bit of Germany to save this small country I forget the name of. But the British do a counterattack by invading this area of France, and nearly capturing Paris right here. But Spain funds some resistance fighters who declare independence in Ireland, inspiring more the Scottish, who don't want to fight with France, and even some Cornwall and some Wales activists to rebel against the British. So France, seeing the opportunity, is like, hell yeah, and invades and takes its territory back. Now the billionaires over here are like, hey, we should take this entire area to make ourselves more richer. So they make an attempt. And I say an attempt because they immediately get overrun and annex back into France. Portugal purposely hijacks this little water well to weaken Italy and Austria-Hungary and the small country. But there's also angers Greece, but Greece doesn't want to get involved. In 1932, the Portuguese invade this small area and actually take this part of Spain. Germany is fighting the Russians and the Austrians and they take the Austrians like more productive areas. So Austria-Hungary is much weaker, which leads to something called revolts, and a bunch of smaller countries attempt to gain their independence. And this basically destroys Austria-Hungary. Italy goes through mountains and slopes and other wiggly and doodlies. And with the help of France, they attack Sweden. And they open up a little loophole right here to split the country, forcing Sweden to be the first Access member to surrender. But Austria-Hungary also surrenders because it needs to fix up their whole problem. Russia, having no time for this, invades the rest of northern Switzerland. The Scottish and the Walians over here start a massive civil war with the British, so the British can't even do anything. This even infects their colonies, as many of them also revolt, and a full-on civil war on the island ensues. Meanwhile, France is steamrolling and got a little bit into this country I also forgot the name of. Germany makes a risky attempt. It goes through Austria and Switzerland to invade Italy. You can see I'm making this shit up. To get to the water to invade this island so they can make more ships to go all around the world. And the Vatican too, he uses Jesus magic to take over the capital. And since he's the Vatican and no one wants to upset God, they simply let the Vatican keep that area. And the Vatican goes neutral. Austria-Hungary, being upset that the neutrality was not respected, decide that's it, and take back some of the territory that were faulted, and do a counterattack that weakens Germany a little bit. Oh, weakened it too much, actually. France in 1938 does a land invasion of Britain, helping the Cornwalls and the Scottish and Wales to invade Britain, and Britain's like, oh no, I'm screwed, and surrenders. At the time, the US isn't involved yet because this is more of a European war. But many of the trade routes are being disrupted, so they might join. The puppet Norway government has a violent revolution to overthrow their dictator, and they join the Russians to invade Switzerland. Germany is like, oh no. So it goes through Denmark to invade Switzerland, and then they split Switzerland into two. One called Switzerland and the other one Switzerland. Yeah, these are very unique names. the French and the Italians and the Austrians and the Russians are making progress. Portuguese victories have been slowing, and many of their gains are being lost due to Spain, and they even lost some of their country. Oh no. 1940, the Germans are basically surrounded. The ally of Switzerland is basically dead. Many of their powerful allies, like Switzerland, like Sweden. Sweden is weakened, and Switzerland's neutral. So is Britain, their most powerful ally. They no longer have Jesus magic because the Vatican just simply surrendered after gaining its territory. But a new powerful ally is rising in Albania. You see, the Albanians managed to take this country because they're too lazy to fight back. And they do a tag team of Serbia with Bosnia, and they take over the entirety of Serbia, and they invade Romania with the Turkish Empire. And the Albanian Bosnian Union is started. There they invade Austria-Hungary, and even this part of Ukraine and Russia. Sorry about that. Turkey, seeing the chance, they invade Georgia and these three small countries I forgot the name of. And then they go on the other side and take a little bit of Central Asia. But there's a problem. The Russians have taken over Sweden, and they've taken out half of Prussia. And there's basically nothing the Germans can do. They're basically surrounded from all sides. Portugal's dead, but the Balkans make a lot of progress as the Albanian Bosnian Union invades more of Romania and Austria-Hungary and even more parts of Russia. The Turks are quickly moving in to invading a lot of Kyrgyzstan. Oh, sorry, too much Kyrgyzstan for one person. Through all of this area to a bit of Russia over here to a lot of Ukraine. Sorry, that's my dog, if you can. That's my dog, Daddy. But the war in the West is pretty much almost over because the Russians invade Denmark with the Nordics, and they basically invade nearly the entire country. The country goes into a deep panic, so the leaders flee to England, leaving Denmark into military dictatorships and warlord states. The Kingdom of Denmark collapses as militiamen and angry soldiers and wannabe dictators split the Denmark way of life to make territory for themselves. But Denmark's basically out of the war, which is pretty bad for Germany. in 1950, the Germans invaded through the coastline, losing the entirety of the coast, obviously. And the war with the and there seemed to be some trouble with the Bosnians and the Albanians, as they don't know how to split the new Union Empire. Also, Turkey wants Bosnia, a piece of Bosnia, and all of Greece, but Bosnia is like, no. The Russians also gained back some parts of Ukraine, actually all of Ukraine, and a ton of land in Russia. Well, the Turks have been invaded through the Middle East, and they're losing a lot of Kyrgyzstan. Many German people are like, okay, this is enough. We are absolutely screwed. So they decide, hey, German government, goodbye. And boom, the German government's overthrown and surrenders instantly. And now everybody's focused on the Bosnian and Albanian and the Turks. But many start leaving the war, actually. Like Italy. Oops, sorry. I said a few, but not all of them. Like, Italy got all they wanted, so they just leave the war. So does Spain. They neutralize an enemy. And Norway wants to quit, but the Russians are like, no. But either or, the Albanians are like, dude, this is my empire. Who's we, actually? There was never any we. So I'm breaking up with you, and I'm taking this territory I got through fighting my war, not yours. Fuck you. And Bosnia has never been the same since the divorce, because as soon as Albania left, the Austrians immediately went down to the Balkans and start taking territory from Albania and Bosnia. A violent revolution happens in Romania, and all of Romania and Serbia are released. It's really just Bosnia and the Turks fighting Austria and Russia, and they basically have no shot. So the Turks do the smart thing and simply surrender. But Bosnia, it's like, actually, I think I can take them. I can take them all. And then Bosnia gets invaded from all sides and loses. Now, this is absolutely nuts. Is this realistic? Fuck you. No, it isn't. But, is it really fun? Hell yeah. Now we get to imagine some alternate borders. These are completely in my imagination, and my imagination only. So looking at this map, we can definitely say that that Germany loses a lot of land because the war was a lot longer. But also Belgium and this country I forgot the name of unite into one country. have to join a union that they don't want to be a part of. And the small country I forget the name of gets this territory for being a good pal to France, being best friends with them. There you go, little buddy. For Portugal, they wouldn't actually get punished all that much. They would just not be eating for a little bit like this. Yeah, they just lose a couple pounds. See, it's not so bad. And also, all the Portugal's colonies go to Brazil for some reason. I don't know what's up with that. The Vatican actually gets more land because Jesus said so, and also gets this island. And Switzerland and Luxembourg gets independence, but also becomes a much bigger kingdom. And Sweden gets split among France, Austria, and Italy, completing that one dictator's dream. And I'm not talking about Hitler, I'm not talking about Stalin, but the dictator from Libya, he always wanted Switzerland to be dead and gone, and now he can finally smile in his grave with the gun shoved up his ass. And here we go. Here is Switzerland's dead. Now, Ireland gets independence, so does Scotland. They get a little bit of British territory. But Wales and Cornwall unite into one country, and France gets all of these port cities, basically making Britain a weak power, like almost economically dependent on France and basically broke. I hope this doesn't lead to any horrible ideology growing in Britain. I hope not. Also, they lose all their colonies. Either France either France or Italy gets them, or they just become independent. Anyways, Albania doesn't get punished all that much since they barely even did anything bad. They do get a little bit of Serbia. Actually, no, they don't. Plot twist, Serbia actually gets a little bit of Albania. But no Austria-Hungary. And you're probably wondering, Jesse Diablos del Taco, Senor No, Tom, are we just gonna watch you write down the map of Europe after an alternate world war you made up? Well, actually, yes, you are. And you better like and subscribe and tell a friend. Actually, tell someone who fought in the very first World War. Tell them, thanks for your service, man. That was pretty been chilling of you. And also tell them about me mostly. That's the most important thing. You have to tell them about me. And tell them to like and subscribe as well. And yes, you're gonna watch me do this because anyways, this is the new map of Europe. So let's go through east to west. Starting in the east, Turkey actually doesn't, in this alternate timeline, doesn't really get it that bad since they didn't really do much this war. They still lose their entire empire. This part becomes a colony of France. This part joins Saudi Arabia, and this part becomes an independent country called Syria Yamama on Serial after I banged her. Yeah, they only lose like a couple pieces of land. Greece, even though they didn't fight, gets Constantinople. Albania loses a lot of territory, making Serbia overweight. Romania gets a lot of territory, making them taller. And Russia gets a lot of Prussia and actually they don't get any of Switzerland. They give it all to Norway. And Norway is basically an independent puppet state of Russia. So is Sweden. I almost said Switzerland, which was weird because Switzerland, as you see here, no longer exist, obviously. Also, this small country that fought in the war gets a tiny bit bigger, and you know why the Vatican's bigger. Italy doesn't really get much. They only get this territory, and all of Switzerland. This little country gets fatter, and Germany is looking a little smaller than usual. Denmark doesn't reunite. Instead, it turns into smaller and smaller, warlord states, small nations, kingdoms, dictatorships, and yeah, it's basically a breeding ground for conflict. So, I just made this video just for fun. If you made it this far, I might do a World War II video because, there's a lot here for part 2, but, you guys can comment down below if the map should change before World War II happens. Like, let's say, you guys want Poland to exist because they rebelled against the Russians way before World War II starts, and what would be the axis of World War II? Well, it would most likely be the Serbians because they wanted more of Austria, and it would be the Italians who feel that, hey, we didn't get much. It would also be the Germans, the British, even the Swiss, but Portuguese, Turkey, and even New Belgium. Who knows? Maybe France becomes an Axis member. Only you can tell me in the comments down below. Okay. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you later. Bye.